Hi guys, welcome to BTM Afrika. Welcome to 2026. NYDJ here. I'm excited to come your way again. At least God has blessed us with life, so we are happy to come your way again with another edition of BTM Afrika. If you are here for the very first time, thank you very much, and please do well to subscribe to our channel because we've got a lot more insightful conversations coming up this year on this channel. For our regular viewers as well, thank you for sticking with us all through the time. So what are we talking about today? I'm pretty sure you've seen that in the caption already, and you want to actually learn, you want to get all the insights. That's why I'm here. So this morning, I actually woke up to news that Black Sherif had actually been ordered by an Adentan High Court to pay a certain amount of money to, a plaintiff who had actually filed a lawsuit. Now, I was trying to look around it to find where that order was coming from. If indeed Black Sherif had actually been ordered to pay such an amount. And, obviously people are interested because it is Black Sherif. He's one of Ghana's finest artists, one of Ghana's biggest exports as we speak now. So everybody was interested. Now, what actually piqued my interest was the fact that the document that was being circulated, the document that was being circulated that actually talked about the fact that Black Sherif had been ordered by the court to pay such an amount had to do with a notice of hearing. Now, if you read a notice of hearing, it tells you that a date has actually been fixed for the hearing of the trial of the case. So this is what happens. Now, if you go to court, basically you must have a cause of matter. You must have a cause to go to court. Now, when you go to court, as in a civil case, you file a civil case against somebody, you need to actually get the writ of summons that comes together with a statement of claim. Now, the statement of claim actually details everything that you want to tell the court and why you think the court should actually be on your side. Maybe you are suing somebody because the person has defamed you, or you are suing somebody because the person owes you and want the person to pay a certain amount of money. That's what you put in the statement of claim. So it goes together. Writ of summons and statement of claim, it goes together so that it has to be served on the defendant, the person you are serving, or the person you are actually suing. Now, that has to be done officially by a bailiff of the court. So the courts have individuals that they are allowed to actually serve these writ of summons on these defendants. Now, one interesting thing that I actually saw was the fact that there had been an order for substituted service. Now, you're asking yourself, what is an order for substituted service? Now, these are things that are actually done according to the CI 47. Now, courts operate on certain rules, If it has to do with a civil procedure, these are the rules. This is more like the court's rule that they use, the books that they use. We call it the High Court or the Civil Procedure Rule 2004, CI 47, and it has an amendment to it as well. I'll be telling you why you are seeing these documents actually fixed on a certain wall that's supposed to be the business premise of Black Sherif or the residence. That's what people are saying. Now, according to the statements and everything that was, the news that was flying all over the internet, according to them, Black Sherif had been asked or be ordered to pay the amount of money because he had not paid rent for his residence. I'm saying residence because I'll be coming to that very soon. Now, this document you are seeing on your screen is what we call the order for substituted service. Now, if I file a lawsuit against you and the bailiff has to actually serve you with that writ of summons and they try on several occasions and they are not able to reach you, then they can go back to the court and tell the courts that we've tried several times to reach the person. We've not been able to reach the person, so the court can then grant that order so that they can actually serve you in other ways possible. Now, this is actually in the rules book, as I said, CI 47. Now, I want us to get into it, and then I'll share with you occasions when somebody can actually use that particular order, that's order for substituted service. Now, if you look at CI 47, that is order 7, and I want to get to that. So you have Order 7, Rule 6, So Order 7, Rule 6 talks about substituted service. And please bear with me as we break it down so that you get understanding. So that the next time you see any of these writs of summons actually fixed on somebody's door, that's the residence or the business premise, you understand why such a statement or such a document has been fixed there. Now, Order 7, Rule 6 says, if a document is required to be served personally on any person and it appears to the court that A, that 3 or more attempts have been made without success to effect personal service, and that any further attempt to effect personal service may result in undue delay, or B, that it is otherwise impracticable for any reason to serve the document personally, the court may make an order for substituted service of that document. 2. An application for an order for substituted service shall be made ex parte and shall be supported by an affidavit stating the facts on which the application is founded. Ex parte basically means I don't need your consent, as in the other party. I don't need to inform the other party that I'm going to court before I get that order. I can go directly to the court and apply for that order. 3. Substituted service of a document in relation to which an order is made under this rule is effected by taking such steps as the court may direct to bring the document to the notice of the person to be served. 4. Without prejudice to the generality of Sub-Rule 3, the court may direct substituted service to be effected in any of the following ways. So what you've seen on the screen has to do with the fact that that document has been fixed on the wall. But that's just one of the ways in which a substituted service can actually be done. A, by service in accordance with Rule 4 of this order. Or B, by delivery of the document to an agent of the person to be served or some other person if there's reasonable ground to believe that the document will through that person come to the knowledge of the person to be served. Or C, by sending the document by registered post address to the person to be served at an address to be specified in the affidavit made under Rule 9.2, at which there is reasonable ground to believe that it will reach the person. Or D, and I want you to pay attention to D, it says by notice put up at the court or some other public place in the region in which the cause or matter is commenced, or at the usual or last known place of residence or business of the person to be served. So you now know why it was actually served on the business or the residence of Black Sherif. Basically because attempts had been made and they couldn't get to him. So then you go to court for substituted service and you can now serve it on these places. Okay, so that's one of the things. And then E, by advertisement in the media within the jurisdiction of the court. 5, an order for substituted service may be varied at any time with respect to the method of service directed by the court. So these are just some of the mediums, or these are some of the means through which a substituted service can actually be done. Of course, recently, you see some of the writs of summons being posted on social media or being sent via WhatsApp. Once you know that if you send it to the person through WhatsApp and the person will get it, it is deemed as being served. So that is basically why you see this notice on Black Sherif's wall. Now, as to whether that place is his residence or business, that's another thing. And for me, I know personally that that place has to do with his business. That is where RBA has its offices and studios. So that's not Black Sherif's residence. But of course, he's supposed to be served at his business. Remember, there are 2 defendants in this case, RBA Limited and then Black Sherif, who is also a defendant in this particular lawsuit. Now, let's get back to the particular issue and why people are saying that Black Sherif has been ordered to pay a certain amount of money. It's mind-boggling because if you check the notice of hearing, this is basically what's been stated on there. It says, in the district court at Adentan, hearing notice to parties. Now, this is it. Plaintiff, Evelyn A.C. Awito, doctor. Between the plaintiff and RBA Limited, first defendant. Second defendant is Mohammed Ismail Sharif, who is also a defendant. Now, to second defendant, that's to the second defendant. Take notice that the above case has been adjourned to Tuesday, 3rd of March, 2026. Hearing is supposed to be at 8:30 a.m. So then comes the question, how did the court place an order for Black Sherif to pay such an amount of money? Because the case has not been heard yet. The hearing has been adjourned. Now, until a court hears a case, until full trial is carried out, the court cannot make an order for a party to pay a certain amount of money. So I was wondering why all the blogs and all the individuals were running with that story that Black Sherif had been made to pay, or the court has ordered him to pay a certain amount of money. Where did they get that from? Is it basically because they do not even understand the notice? Because what is sad is the fact that the notice is what they are sharing with the news, okay? This document you see on the screen is basically what they are sharing with the news, that the court has ordered him to pay that amount of money. But the point is, it's quite clear on this same notice that hearing has been adjourned to the 3rd of March, 2026. That means the case itself has not been heard. So if a case has not been heard, trial has not begun, for judgment to be given. How do you run with narrative that somebody has been made to pay a certain amount of money or has been ordered to pay a certain amount of money? That's what leads to the question. People are now on social media and, sharing all that they can. But basically, I felt it was only right that maybe we share some knowledge on this one. A number of things can be established from all that's going on. One, yes, indeed, there's a lawsuit, okay? There's a lawsuit between the said plaintiff and the said defendants. There's a lawsuit ongoing. But the point is that nobody has been ordered yet because the case has not been heard. Trial has not begun for the parties to be awarded any amount of money. Now, I'm tempted to believe that people are mentioning that figure basically based on the statement of claim that had actually been fixed on the wall. Because remember, I told you that in your statement of claim, you actually post everything that you think you want the court to do for you. So basically, it could be from the statement of claim where maybe the plaintiff is claiming that he owes me this amount of money and that and that and that for that. And that's how come people are saying that he's been ordered to pay that amount of money. So basically, there are two things that have been established. Black Sherif has been sued, yes, but he's not been ordered to pay any such amount. Again, the supposed residence that people are talking about is not a residence of Black Sherif. It has to do with his business address. That is where his business works. RBA, Road Boys Association, everybody knows that it belongs to Black Sherif and his people. So the company has been sued, and Black Sherif himself has also been sued. So two individuals who are defendants to this particular matter. So it is his venue, or should I say his business premise, that's actually been, you have that particular thing fixed on there. So for anyone who says, hey, it's Black Sherif, Nisika Bebe, I want to mean Tofi, when you baby obey to me at $1,700 a month and all that. That I don't really care about, but it has to be established that that place has to do with his business and not his residence, as in where he lives. And then again, there's been no such court order for him to pay any such amount because the trial has not started yet. I'm pretty sure this brings clarity to all the confusion that's going on over the internet. And of course, there's been a twist, a bit of knowledge as to what an order for substituted service is. If you enjoyed it or if this brought clarity, thank you. Please drop your comments. Let me know if you want me to do more of these, or maybe there's something else you want me to touch on. I'll definitely come back to this channel and do that. But of course, let me say a big shout out to my producers for working on this, and of course to my brother Kwame Dazi, to another Samoa Bedu, and of course to Cosby. They've been on my neck and said, NY, listen, you need to be doing more of these to help the industry. So maybe I'll be paying attention to that and be doing more of that here on BTM Africa. But thank you for watching. Just keep your comments coming in, and let's have a wonderful 2026. I'm out.